this and share. Was there a breaking point? Was there a release? What encouraged you to, I guess, do what you do now and be so open about who you are inside and out?
Well, Keith, I was raised in the church. I was raised as a person who believed that Jesus is the Son of God. I was raised that way. And I lived in that posture most of my life. And even publicly, I put that out. In our company, we operate our company with high morals and higher integrity. But I had this insecurity on the inside, this pain that I never dealt with, this pain from being abused, this pain of not being good enough, of feeling like I had to do more to prove myself. Okay, and so this public face that I had on was not lined up. So the arrogance and the pride that looked like I had my act together did not line up with the insecurity that I had inside of me. And one day, I'm going to answer your question bluntly. I believe God got a hold of me and said, this isn't acceptable. It's just not acceptable. And I stopped that behavior. I went to, my wife asked me later, a couple of years later, I want to know the truth, and I shared the truth with her, and she forgave me. In the middle of all that, I was consulting with a client, and the client asked me, after I stopped doing what I was doing, he asked me, the president of the company said, how come you're not out sharing more about what you share in this company? My marriage has changed. My relationship with my kids is different. My employees are different. We're more profitable.
Yeah.
All the stuff you show us works. Why are you not sharing this with the world? And we actually wrote the first book called The Hike, answering that question. And it's a parable. And the first chapter is called The Suicidal CEO. To see, there was a time that I wanted to kill myself. I held a loaded gun. I went to the bridge of the river. And I shared with him in that parable, and I shared with that client, if people really knew who I was, they wouldn't listen to me anyway. And so even though these things work, who would listen to a guy who's done what I've done? And the president of that company challenged me and said, I don't agree with you. I believe they would listen to you. So I invited 30 of my friends to come together. I shared it all with them. My wife eventually, after us helping a few couples with the same issue in their marriage, she gave me permission to go public with it. And so that's kind of the process of what happened.
I am just blown away with your testimony. And for anybody listening to the broadcast, I totally recommend, if you are looking for such a transformation, God definitely is the answer. But the website where you can learn more about Ford, you want to go to transformlead.com. Share that with a friend, a neighbor, transformlead.com. But there are principles in God's Word that you have sought out. Obviously, you pray, and God is a restorer too, isn't he?
He's a restorer. He's a reconciler. He's a transformer. He's the King of Kings. He's the Lord of Lords. He's the Prince of Peace. I mean, he's so much more, and we put him in a box. And I didn't even know, Keith, back when we were using this material to turn companies around, when I kind of stepped out of and came clean, I went to my pastor and I asked him, I showed him this material, and I said, by any chance is any of this in the Bible? And he said, why? I said, because it works everywhere we go. And he took it, and he came back to me a couple of weeks later, and he said, you have no idea what you have here. I took it to 3 more pastors, and I asked them, and they came back and said, no, it's not in there. They came back a couple of weeks later and said, wow, we've never seen biblical principles shared this way in English, in a language that people can understand. And so I asked them all, where is it? And they all told me, go find it yourself. And so I started reading the Bible through a lens of the answers are actually in here. Because we had the answers, they were working, but I didn't know where they came from. And so it actually, for me, worked in reverse. And so now when we do the training, whether people get it online at tlondemand.com or whether they come to a live training, which you just gave that website, whichever one it is, okay, we give them these principles in what we call a plain glass version. In other words, that Bible that you and I believe in, it says it works whether you believe it or not.
Yeah.
And so we give these principles to people, to Christians, Muslims, Jews, atheists. In other words, they come to the training and they say, wow, this stuff's great.
It applies.
Where does it come from?
It works.
Then we tell them, let me tell you where it comes from. If you like it that much, let me tell you why you like it that much. And then we share the rest of the truth in a second manual.
And then it all makes sense. It all makes sense after that. What's that? Besides the Lead website, where can we get your book that you referred to?
You can order the book on either Amazon or CreateSpace.
And what's it called again?
It's called The Hike.
The Hike, and that's got your complete story, more or less?
Well, it's a parable. Everybody that I know that reads it says, "Man, you wrote I'm in your book," and it's like 8 characters, of which most of us are some of those 8 characters at some point in our life. And so it's written as a parable, but at some point or another, I was all 8 characters that are in that book.
Ford, we need to have you back on our show. Would you come back on and be our guest?
Keith, I'd love to be with you again, man. You're awesome. Thank you.
You're awesome, too. God bless you, and continue doing God's work and sharing with more people on radio, television, and around the world. We look forward to more things from you. Just keep up with what you're doing, and God will do the rest. I'm certain of that.
Now, thank you, Keith, and thank you for the impact you're having with what you do. God bless you.
Thank you so much, folks. There you go. Ford Taylor. You got to check out his website, transformlead.com, and there is ingredients, and it does come from God's Word. But even if you don't believe in it, there's tried and true from a man who has been successful all the way around. Our website's forthepeopleshow.com. We're 100% listener-supported. Your help would help us to get all across America each and every day. God bless you.